Hey, welcome back to Vikings Game Plan. We're in deep stretch. It's Paul Allen, your announcer, and the analyst for the Vikings Radio Network is Pete Bercich, and Fox 9's Ron Johnson is with us. Here are the winning formula topics, beginning with number one, and Ron Johnson. Prized free agent acquisition Michael Pierce, Baltimore Ravens, game-changing defensive tackle. Linval went to the LA Chargers, so we need a beefeater. Now, Michael has opted out. Asthmatic conditions, COVID, not comfortable. So no Michael Pierce 2020. Who's next, and what do you do?
You're going to have to get a little bit strategic. Now these younger guys are going to get a chance to compete. But honestly, it's a loss. You lose Linval, you lose your other guy, but you get the money back from Pierce's contract. So I think that's the key now is you have money to go get other guys. When you lost Linval, I'm pretty sure Rick had a list of guys like, hey, here's 5 or 6 other guys that we liked. And so now is that time where you have time before the first game against the Packers to say, let's get some of these guys in, work them out, figure out if that's our guy.
And one thing that concerns me about this is just what's going to happen with Kendricks and Barr behind the defensive line. To keep those linebackers, Barr and Kendricks, who are probably one of the best duos in the NFL, from having to deal with offensive linemen in their face in the running game. So, as much as this was a huge, I think, a loss with Michael Pierce and his energy and the things that he brings, I think he can be replaced, and you're still going to need to develop somebody else behind him to keep those linebackers free.
They're beginning to practice. They're beginning to gather. They're at facilities, but the virtual nature of the meetings for the DBs and the technique, the wide receivers and the depth of route and everything. What do you think, bud?
I would think that's an absolute nightmare for the coaches. I mean, honest, I would not, as a coach, and the time that you spend in front of them is so important. Now, like Tom Alvedati would say, it's all great when you're sitting here in air conditioning and you have time to think about it. But when you get on the field and you're hot, and you're tired, you're hit, you're beat up, that's when you have to remember all these different things. And to be able to explain concepts, and is a guy looking at you in the face? Is he nodding his head? Does he get it? That is going to be it's so hard to do that online. And the bottom line is, it is what it is. Everybody has to deal with this, and you have to say, all right, who can do the best job teaching online? Personally, as a coach, I mean, it would drive me nuts. I would absolutely hate it, but you can hate it for a second, and then you got to say, too bad everybody's doing it. We got to figure out the best way that these guys can take this info to the field.
Honestly, we know everybody, and PJ Fleck says this with the Gophers, every player or every third grader, fourth grader, everybody learns differently. And as a coach, your job is to be a teacher and teach each player the way they need to learn. You can't do it virtually. Some guys do not learn by staring at a computer, and some guys are going to figure out that they can hit pause and make it look like a loop of themselves watching and go to sleep. I mean, these guys are smart. So there's going to be a lot of tricks to the trade, videotaping themselves, putting a cell phone up to the camera, looking like they're still there. I mean,
no, I'm laughing because it sounds like a dad with kids who had to deal with online schooling.
Exactly right.
And I'm like, what you doing there? That's a loop. Oh, no. Hey, you know what, though? Last one, COVID-19 and the NFL, the reality of it all. Just when people talk like that, what do you think?
The bottom line is this: is if you get tested and you have it, you're taking 2 weeks off, and then you're coming back. The one thing, though, as a player that you have to, I think, as a player, remember, I never got better health care than when I was playing during the season. You had access to a trainer 24/7. You had doctors there every single day. These guys are some of the best conditioned athletes in the world. Their fear should be very much waylaid by the fact that if indeed they do get it, they are in the best possible hands that they could be. They're in great condition. They just got to weather that storm, get through it, and then get themselves back on the field. So, with pre-existing conditions, that's a whole nother animal, no question about it. But for a majority of these guys, I think that they should feel pretty good about coming back and getting to work.
The NFL has the pieces in place, and I think that's what the players wanted earlier this summer. Was they wanted a plan. Like, tell us what the plan is if we get COVID. Now, whether they've told us or not, I'm pretty sure they've conveyed to the players, Here's the plan. Here's the ventilators if you need it. Here's the medicine. Here's the, immune system boosters that you need to take. And again, you're right. It's a week and a half to 2 weeks. And then once you're out of it, you get retested, you test negative, and then you're back on the field. So just like any other injury, there's going to be a COVID IR report. And then those guys are going to have to bring guys in to play for that guy for a week or two, maybe sign them to an extended, practice squad or COVID squad or whatever they want to call it. Because, this is an ever-moving beast that the NFL just has to figure it out. And that would help when the players have to sit out for 2 weeks.
And thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow everything Minnesota Vikings football at Vikings.com. And on behalf of Ron Johnson, Pete Bercich, and everybody at the Vikings Entertainment Network, I'm Paul Allen. Skol Vikings!